The boy had just come to the junkyard for the first time to search for treasures, when he saw a sight that would completely change his life. Amid the muddy ruins covered in yellow dirt, there sat an old abandoned battery. At that moment, a bold idea suddenly came to his mind. To prove his theory, he immediately brought his friends to his secret hideout. Using fire, he heated up an old metal pipe. Then he bent it by hand into the shape of fan blades. He removed a motor from a broken radio, and finally connected the handmade windmill, the battery, and the radio together with wires. As one of his friends opened the door, the hot summer breeze slowly drifted into the room. The dry yellow blades began spinning rapidly, under the gentle push of the wind. Everyone immediately stared at the radio below. Then in the very next second, they all burst into cheers and excitement. Only the boy remained calm, as he looked at the windmill in front of him, because this was merely the first step toward his future. Soon after, he eagerly brought his invention to show his father, who was working in the fields. Under his father's confused gaze, he skillfully removed the battery from the radio, then gently turned on the switch. At that moment, his father's weathered eyes filled with shock. Seeing his reaction, the boy immediately explained, "This is a wind-powered turbine blade. The wind makes it spin and generate electricity. If we replace it with larger blades, it could easily power a water pump. We could draw water from underground to irrigate the farmland and help the villagers survive this once-in-a-century drought."
Nditu koma kuti tipange chigayo chachikulu ndikufuna fani ya makono ikulu mutandibwereka njinga yanu zitakuteka.
But the moment his father heard those words, he flew into a rage. He angrily scolded his son, saying the idea was nothing more than a ridiculous fantasy. For hundreds of years, their ancestors had never solved this problem. How could a simple windmill possibly overcome it?
Balizintazina zimene ndi madziwa zimu madziwa.
Chifukwa ungateka kwanga zoselowesa.
Chifukwa cha sukulu.
Those words completely enraged the father. In anger, he grabbed the boy and slammed him to the ground. He shouted that instead of wasting time learning useless things at school, he should quit and come home to help with the farm, so he could ease the burden on the family. After saying that, he smashed the boy's windmill to pieces in fury. His father's cold words felt like sharp blades, piercing the young boy's heart without mercy. But what the father could never have imagined was that the son he was scolding today would soon change the fate of the entire country, and the windmill he considered trash would become a vital tool that saved countless lives. Yet on this African land, buried beneath endless yellow sand, what often grew was not hope, but overwhelming despair. The children here had to battle harsh weather from the moment they were born, and the boy named William was one of them. He was born in a small East African country called Malawi. Because the region lies within a tropical monsoon climate zone, the extreme weather often brought months of violent rainstorms or scorching heat that dried up crops. The barren land also made it one of the poorest countries in the world, and less than 1% of the population had access to electricity. Growing up in such an environment, 13-year-old William became fascinated with all kinds of electrical devices. His favorite hobby was helping nearby villagers repair appliances whenever he had free time, so he could understand how they worked. Although the noises he made often woke his sleeping father, his father never blamed him for his passion. Instead, he would simply pick up the radio and head to the fields, watching the ever-changing weather. The cornfield beneath his feet was the family's only source of income. But because the drought that year was so severe, their corn harvest dropped dramatically. The family's savings had long since been drained by everyday expenses. Even so, his father still sold some of their belongings to gather enough money for William's first tuition payment. After finally putting on the school uniform he had dreamed about for so long, William excitedly threw himself into his father's arms. Then, carrying his family's hopes and blessings, he walked with light and joyful steps through the forest paths covered in shifting shadows, past the bustling street markets, and finally arrived at the dusty schoolyard. During the freshman opening ceremony, the principal passionately told the students about the school's history. But just as he was getting carried away, the blazing sunny sky suddenly erupted into a heavy downpour. By the time the students ran back to their classrooms, their clothes were already soaked through. Even so, nothing could stop William from immersing himself in the ocean of knowledge. But when the final school bell rang, William was stopped by the physics teacher, just as he was about to leave. The teacher urged him to pay the rest of his tuition within 1 week, otherwise he would be expelled from school, and permanently banned from entering the classroom again. The teacher's words pulled William out of his dreams of a brighter future, and dragged him back to reality once more.